I'm recording a one-size-fits-all legal disclaimer for the beginning of every episode that I upload. The views and the opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any agency, organization, employer, or company that they are affiliated with. Examples of analysis performed within this podcast are only anecdotal examples. They should not be utilized in any real-world analytics as they are based on anecdotal information. That is all. Okay, usually do that. All
Okay.
right. And then
Yeah, yeah.
hi, this is Robert Cross, and this is Cross Theory, the podcast where we look at this book, The Dictionary of Theories. If I can get into focus, 5,000 theories. There might be 5,000 episodes. This is episode 13. 13, crazy. In 1 month of me doing this,
Oh,
13 episodes so far. And I'm here with a very special guest, friend, person. Want to introduce yourself?
yeah, Matt. I'm Matt Simmons, as opposed to the other Matt in the last episode.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's
two
all I
Mets in a
got.
row. Two
That's
Mets in a
all I
row.
got.
No,
Yeah, it's
tell
fun.
people what's your education about? What do you work like on? What do you do? Like
Okay,
this
yeah.
is a big deal, man. Like,
Okay, so I'm almost done with my PhD in literature. That's
Sweet.
more or less how we got to know each other, right?
That's
We
true.
were
That's true.
both taking classes at community college. We were taking Latin actually,
Hmm.
just for fun on my part, but
Yeah.
I think it was for your that was your language or some
Well,
shit. I'm not
it
sure.
was going to be my language. I guess we'll just get into that right now before we
Yeah,
start getting into anything.
as I
It
keep
was,
going,
well, yeah, it was going to be my language, but then they only offered the first two. They only offered Latin 1 and Latin 2, and they didn't offer Latin 3, which I needed 3 semesters of a language. So I
Yeah,
ended up
totally.
moving to Italian, which you know a lot about Italian, so it was,
Totally. Studied that as well. Yeah, that was also fun.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean that was how we got to know each other. But then I went on to get a master's in Berlin and then my PhD at UCSC. And I don't know, I kind of regret it, kind of loved it. Yeah, I have mixed feelings. And now because there's no jobs anywhere, I mostly spend my days either teaching students, right? I still luckily have some of that, or
Nice.
teaching AI models. So
Nice. Look at
that's
that.
more or less my life.
And we'll get into AI probably
Oh,
hardcore
fun.
in this thing. I just got a notification from
Your Moltbot?
my Claude bot, my open claw thing. It says this model does not support tools. So we'll get to that when we
Okay.
yeah,
Huh.
eventually. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, this thing.
Oh, I'm
Um
sure. It's
Anyway,
not, like I said.
yeah, it's out of control. I'm Robert James Cross. I have a master's degree in fiction, a master's degree in education. I'm in the process of getting a doctorate in education. Whether or not I finish that is up for debate. And yes, the theory, well, none of that matters because the theory we're going to talk about today is in, drum roll. Um,
What is it?
oh, it's another philosophy one. So we had philosophy
Oh,
yesterday.
good. Okay,
So this is
good.
another
You
philosophy
know.
one. Okay, so and this is interesting because it's actually like the pre-title, whatever, of a pretty cool comic book series that I was talking about in my last
Okay.
episode, which is Absolute. So
Oh.
it's the absolute theory of philosophy, um, by Immanuel Kant, right?
Ah.
Yeah, I know that guy. Uh,
I don't.
you don't
We're
like,
not talking about Kant. Just
yeah, we're going to talk about Kant. We're talking about Kant today. We're just going to talk about him a little bit, not a lot. Don't worry about it. Like I said, it doesn't have to, this whole conversation
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
even
yeah.
have to
We'll
be
go.
about
No,
this.
I get you. I get
But
you. Let's go
I'm
on
going to
there.
read what it says here. Kant insisted that there are limits to what we can, in principle, know about reality, and that we necessarily look at the world in certain ways only, for example, in terms of substance and cause. That's what it says.
Yes. Yeah.
You agree with
Well,
that?
okay. No, for the most part. I mean, I agree with
Why?
a lot of Kant. Um, all right. So here's my background in Kant. Let me go into it a little bit.
I thought you were going to say I can't do this.
There is actually someone I remember, a professor,
Yeah.
who I don't know. Anyway, he told a joke one time that didn't really make sense to any of us, but it was about a conference he had gone to where the woman's whole presentation played off the similar sound between his name and the word Kant, yeah,
Oh,
and like
okay.
how the
Yeah,
way in
yeah, yeah,
which like Kant's limits of knowledge were at that area.
yeah.
So
Okay.
it was like a
Yeah, yeah.
feminist reading of Kant.
Interesting.
And there's a great punchline to the whole joke that, maybe you can figure it out yourself, about what
Yeah.
Kant didn't know anything about.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, no, but I mean, like, I don't know. I took a reading group on Kant, and I just like, I don't know. It's like I can't get into the whole these people who did these like the German systems
Yeah,
thinkers who
yeah.
designed an entire
Well,
like
you were in
framework.
Berlin, so like you know.
Yeah, no, I don't do it. I don't do Kant. I mean, I again like Hegel's another one, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
this,
Hegel's out of
you
control. Yeah,
yeah, you need to like ingest this like huge body of work,
yeah,
understand their entire way of thinking, and somehow come out on the other side. And it's
yeah.
like it's somewhat revelatory, but again, you have to like spend months like just
Yeah.
like devoting yourself to that. I don't know. So I've read a lot of people who've read Kant, and
Mhm.
I think there's the limit. I get the whole limits of what you can know based on perception. Like, sure, that makes sense to me. Um, but and like I like Kant's whole sublime, like the idea of like that thing that gives both terror and beauty.
Yeah.
Something beyond yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like those.
Do you think
But beyond that,
do you think it's dangerous to have that belief system though, like that there is a limit to what you can know? Or do you think it's non like it's not dangerous in thinking that? Because if you think that and you try to make other people believe that essentially, then everything is open to interpretation at that point. And then it becomes like, okay, well, if I can't know about this thing, then maybe it's not, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah,
you're saying that it's like a pathway to relativism or something like that.
it's a
See, I
pathway
think
to
it's the
like, it
opposite.
might be the pathway to evil. Like, 'cause it might be the
That's
pathway to
interesting. We got to
evil.
get into that because no, I'm kind of curious how, because in some ways I think like the Kantian, like that whole frame is the opposite of like what we get to in like postmodernism with the
Yeah.
relativism and so on,
Hmm.
or yeah, like deconstruction.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, no, there is a framework
Hmm.
from which all things exist, and if we just observe hard enough, we can know them. But there'll always be things we can't know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because how can you know what it's like to be? I mean, I guess the thing that they always get into in these like kind of religious thinkers at the time are like, how you can never know what God is to itself or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Well, like
You
it's
can't know the
that's
thing in
yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it would be like supreme empathy, essentially, where it's like I can put myself in the shoes of this thing in which, you know what I mean, but not really
Yeah, no,
because
it would.
yeah,
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 right. Because there's always going to be a gap. And that's the
yeah.
whole thing. The whole idea of like knowledge and experience and empathy and assumption starts at that gap between like
Mhm.
what you can actually know and what
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you ever
So
been
I
have
don't know.
you
I
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, have you ever been told, because I've been told a few times in my life,
Yeah,
that you lack empathy when it comes to certain things. Certain things, not like everything, obviously.
I'm sure I have. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. I don't have any instances to come to mind, but I know times where like I've been laying there in bed
Hmm.
going to sleep, and I'm like, that was not an empathetic like
Yeah,
reaction. Like I have
reaction, like
those moments for
yeah,
sure
yeah,
where I'm like, oh
yeah,
yeah, like I should have given more empathy to that person. But like I'm also aware at that moment, I'm like, but I was having this moment where either it was like a reaction I was going through or just like you're exhausted or something. And you know
yeah,
how it's way harder to have empathy like you're
yeah.
when you're tired. You're just like,
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there's that, and then there's also like the idea that I guess empathy is also it is, I guess, it it all is based on your experience in life too. I mean, like you can't, everything
Sure.
has like a tinge of that in it as as you do the empathy exercise,
Well,
you
I
know.
think there's a thing. Yeah, I heard some people there was a conference in Berlin I was at one time, and they were talking about this like German theorists who people didn't read.
Yeah,
Academics
all
always
of
do
them.
this, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
try and find someone who
Was
is
it
doing
was he
something.
was
You're
it in
like,
the 40s?
whoa,
No, no, just kidding.
no, no, definitely no. No,
Nobody
she
read
was
him because he
like,
died. No, I'm just kidding. Go
he was murdered.
He was in a
No, but
camp.
like
Yeah.
she was talking about this theory, she was talking about empathy as like a double consciousness. So
Okay.
in a
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
similar way to like
Mhm.
Du Bois or something,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
the consciousness is you and the other person's consciousness simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so then like one of the people in the audience like had a good pushback where they're like, well, then what does that make for like black consciousness, which is already doubled?
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
like, is it
Mhm.
quadrupled? And
Yeah, yeah,
everyone was
yeah.
like, huh. Yeah, but anyway,
Yeah.
the whole point, yeah, is there is a duality to empathy where it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to simultaneously inhabit your own and another person's without losing
Yeah.
either, right?
So you
Because
know
if
who's
you,
you
yeah,
know who are really good at being empathetic then are schizophrenics. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll take it. I
They
would
have
say,
wonderful empathy.
it's a different thing entirely,
No, I know it's a joke. No, but the but no, like I said, like people have told me before, both men, women,
yeah,
a bunch of people have said to me like, yeah, you lack empathy when it comes to certain things, and
like like what?
I just like I don't know if
I mean,
somebody.
I might have told you this, but
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
go
I mean,
on.
no, you haven't. I mean, like I mean, maybe in like a small ways or
Joking,
whatever during
yeah,
conversations we've had, which all the conversations we've had throughout our what is it, 15 years almost knowing each other, something like that, almost 15 years. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like some of those would have made really great podcast episodes. Like
They would have, right? But then I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we did try and record a podcast one time. Do you
Did
remember
we?
this?
Did we? I don't
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, we'll
remember
have
that.
to
Yeah, yeah,
I'll bring
yeah,
that up.
yeah. Try to find that somewhere.
No,
Yeah,
it was really bad. We couldn't figure out what to say, and so we
yeah.
just like,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Once
like
cameras started rolling, it was hard,
we're doing good now. I feel like
you know.
the but no, yeah, I've been told I lack empathy when it comes to like certain things, especially when it comes to like other people's emotions,
Okay.
about what I say sometimes. Like I'll say something like kind of harsh, but
Yeah.
to me it doesn't feel harsh. To me, I'm just kind of not that I'm giving advice, but I'm kind of like trying to get the person. It's funny because like in the way that they think I lack empathy, I also think they lack empathy about the situation in which I'm trying to talk, like tell them about, I'll be like, well, things are hard for this group of people, or things are hard for, you know what I mean? Like I'll say like that, try to get them to be empathetic about something. And then they go, well, what about me? And then I'm like, well, that's great. But like
Yeah.
this and they're like, wow, you lack empathy about how I feel. And I'm like, do I? I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to like get you to
I
like,
mean, it's a hard balance, I think, in that
it
way,
is, it's
because like
tough.
there is
Yeah,
that
it's tough.
element of like, yeah, when you're in like that empathetic state, you're always like, I don't know, there's either putting someone else's emotional or like
Above your
state
own.
before your
Yeah,
own,
yeah, yeah.
or yeah, and I think in some ways that's a good thing, like overall, as long as it's not, but if someone's going through shit, then to
Yeah.
be like, it's like the kid who doesn't want, it's not at all like this, but this is what came to mind, the kid who doesn't want to eat food, and then their parents are like, oh, there's
Oh
starving
yeah,
kids in
Africa.
Africa,
Yeah,
and
that's
you're
what my
like,
mother did.
that
My
has,
mother did that.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're like, that has
constantly.
nothing
Yeah, yeah,
really to do with anything, and also
yeah.
it's like vaguely problematic for any number of reasons,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah. No,
whatever,
no,
yeah.
yeah, but no, I actually, it's funny you say that, because I often tell my stepson, not that specifically, but I say that my mother used to say that to me all the time, right?
That's
And
like the most postmodern
well,
shit.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
I'm like,
know that this is, but my mom.
yeah, yeah. No, I say my mom used to tell me that there are starving kids in Africa and that I should finish my food, and that's why I have an eating disorder, right? I tell him because it's like
Okay.
I can't not finish my food. I get like I have like almost like an anxiety
Guilt.
or a panic
Yeah,
attack and guilt. Yeah, yeah. When I'm like I see like one morsel of food left on the plate, I'm like, well, fuck, like I can't waste that.
totally.
Where like other people I know, they'll throw away like whole plates in front of me, and I'm just like, oh my god, like fucking, are you
Yeah.
kidding me right now? Like and then I think about the people like living in San Diego, like down by by
Yeah.
Petco Park and the tents and shit. Like I think about all this stuff, and I don't know what, and that's the thing is that when somebody tells me I like empathy, I always think about things like that, where I'm like, I might not be empathetic to you in the moment, but like, I literally am like, my heart is tearing out thinking about these homeless people that are like in the over at Petco Park not eating while people are
Yeah,
throwing their food away. If I was a psychopath or a sociopath or whatever and didn't and
with
actually
that,
lacked empathy, I that wouldn't even cross my mind. I'd be like, yeah, keep throwing food away. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like whatever.
yeah,
You know, so I don't know. I guess I'm trying to talk myself into a circle here, but the uh the whole Africa thing, yeah, my mother did that constantly, and that's why I feel like even today I get really I have a lot of guilt about wasting food. I'd like to
yeah,
like not have that, and I'd feel like there are like exercises I guess I could do where I
sure.
like throw little bits of food away. I try, or whatever. But yeah, no, I often go to bed with like my stomach hurts like a son of a bitch because I'll overeat or whatever. And but they say that I don't know. I did I have a lot of like workbooks here, like psychology ones. Like I have
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
the dialectic behavior
Okay,
therapy workbook.
GBT. Yeah,
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 yeah.
stuff like that. And it says stuff like if you're depressed, that's like one of the symptoms is like overeating or undereating is like depression. And I'm like, I guess, but like I can pinpoint it to something. It's not that like, I don't feel
It's not
like
a, yeah,
yeah, it's not like I can't be like, oh, like I didn't, I feel depressed today, so I'm gonna overeat to make myself feel better. It's like I'm actually overeating because I feel guilt. You know what I mean?
totally.
Like,
Well, and
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. I feel like a lot of these things, right? They're levers. So it's like, yeah, during depression, it often will go one way or the other. Because I knew people who like during depression would not eat for like weeks,
Yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah. I've seen people
And
like that.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, because it's like the self-hatred comes out in that way,
yeah.
where it's like I
Yeah.
would rather wither away versus I would rather just like,
Eat
yeah,
my
stuff
gorge
myself.
myself. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like I feel like that actually is what like caused my diabetes. That's what I feel like that's what
yeah,
caused it was like me overeating so much, and not just that. I mean, also like, I haven't done drugs in so
sure,
long, and drank or any of those things, and I feel like I sometimes switch things. I'll like replace one thing with another, and
sure.
I replaced all that shit with sugar, or I replaced it with
Yeah, that'll do
school,
it for you.
which is
Yeah.
why I've been in school for fucking ever, like 17, 18 years straight, almost just going to college, because I'm like,
What's
I'll
the
just,
point,
yeah, 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 for no reason. It's not getting me any more money, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, no, it
it's
never
actually
does. It
taking
never
money
does.
away,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, money, time, just gone.
yeah,
But
God, and I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, but I'm not an alcoholic, you know what I mean? So that's like,
Yeah,
I think of my friends who like they drink all the time, or my brother, who again,
sure.
I've
Yeah.
mentioned on the show before. I love him very much, but he's a booze hound, and like he just like that's all he does is drink, you know what I mean, and
Well,
complain.
I mean, I think it's a thing of like we're all wasting our time here some way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. No,
It's
it's
like,
true.
yeah, you
Yeah,
got to
no, it's
find your
true.
own way to waste it. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
but yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but when somebody tries to, that's a great point. I guess we could segue into something here where like, do you feel like the way that you waste time? Do you? I guess if it, do you feel like it's noble or that it's like something that something that's worth wasting, the
yeah.
time that's worth wasting if it's what you're
I
doing kind of
mean,
thing.
I will say like in phases of my life 100%. Like
Yeah.
I went through like years of my life where I was like, no, like I am in a superior class of like time wasting and like how I live my life is better.
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean, I definitely spent time like that. I mean, I think in a lot of cases it was like oh I oh hang on, my cat's here getting
Oh,
food.
kitty. Yeah.
um And no, I think I. Oh, here we go. Here's the cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's see the cat. Get the cat over here. Oh, kitty. Oh, and the girlfriend. Hey, how's it going? How are you? Hey, hey. Everybody's all blurry and
I know, right?
kitty.
Because I
What's
blurred
that?
my camera.
Yeah, I know. What's the cat's name?
Zachy. Let me
Zachy. Hey,
unblur my
Zachy.
background. There
Hey,
we go.
Zachy.
There's
Look at that. Oh, there
Zachy.
we go.
Look
You
at
didn't even
him.
have
He's a
to.
little
Why'd you even blur
tuxedo.
your background? It's literally the same color as the blur. I don't even know. You're out of
It
control,
is.
Matt.
I need to turn
You,
on this light and turn
Oh,
off the
yeah, yeah,
fan, but
yeah.
you
I'm
know,
like,
yeah.
wow, that's. I thought you
Um,
had like some like collection of like I don't know memorabilia or something behind you. You're like, I
no,
don't want
it's a
anybody to
blank
know.
wall.
It's
You
just
know,
I'm like,
we legit moved into this house like not even a whole month ago.
oh
So
yeah.
it's been a
How is it?
process.
Is it
You
nice?
got to come see it. You got
Yeah,
to
I
come
do.
see it.
I
It's really
will.
nice.
I will. I will.
Yeah. Um,
But
I
yeah,
don't know.
wasting time, wasting
Yeah,
time.
wasting time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I mean, I think I for a long time I thought I wasted time better, but also like I was the type who in high school I played WoW, and
Oh, okay.
so
That was a
I
huge waste of
wasted
time.
like absolute
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
playing World of Warcraft, and like
I did that with Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike was
yes,
my,
I
yeah,
mean,
I
there's
didn't,
you could do it
yeah.
with any number of
I didn't
video
do
games,
well. I
right?
did Counter-Strike for sure.
It could be
Yeah.
Counter-Strike, it could
Yeah.
be some type of MOBA, it could be
I think my
anything.
Counter-Strike was like not my newest Steam profile, but my old one. I think it was something like 1,000 hours, some ungodly amount
Oh
of
yeah,
time. Like it was, yeah.
it's absurd because as soon
Yeah.
as you do the math on how many days
Oh
of
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
waking
Straight.
life that
Yeah,
is,
yeah, straight.
you're just
Yeah, yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
wow, I've
yeah.
spent a year of my time on Earth
Yeah.
fully
Playing.
playing this or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, like
I
that's
mean,
when
yeah,
I did the when I started counting or doing the my movies and the TV shows that I've watched, and it
yeah,
said that, yeah, and it said that I'd watched, it was like 1,400 and something days worth of movies and television. I was like, that's like literally like a third of my life I've
it
spent
is,
sitting in
and you're
front of a
just like,
screen. Like
yeah. Well, and I think of it even today. Like, I woke up, I read, well, I
yeah,
had
yeah.
my coffee, so I read for
What
like
are you
10
what
minutes.
are you reading? Let's
I just finished a book that was like it was a memoir about someone moving to Tuscany and starting a vineyard. It was total
Okay.
like weird. But now I'm reading some
Oh,
Murakami, which I haven't
Murakami. Yeah,
read in a long
Murakami. Yeah, we
time.
love Murakami.
Um, but yeah, no, I read all the Murakami in like
Nice.
here and while I was traveling, and then I haven't for a while. And so I picked this one back up.
Awesome.
Um, but I mean, Murakami, I will say in terms of wasting time, like that book is just about people
Yeah.
wasting
Is
time.
it?
Like
Yeah, yeah.
no one does anything in those novels. Like
Mm-hmm.
people are just kind of
They're,
wandering,
yeah,
sitting there,
yeah,
doing nothing. And I think like, yeah, so I don't know. I think in terms of like the way I felt guilty wasting time when I was younger. I felt like I used my time better when I was like in my 20s.
yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know. It depends. And then when I was traveling, I very much felt like I was using my time in like a
Yeah.
superior way because I was
Yes.
traveling.
That's right.
I was
Yeah,
also like not doing expensive traveling, so I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
feel guilty. I was like, I only make like 15K a year, so like I'm not the
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
And there was like a weird pride in that. I don't
Does,
know.
so as you're talking about the traveling thing, I've only really been to Egypt. Like I've never really
Yeah,
been anywhere else. And I would love to go to Europe or one of those places one of
sure.
these days. Not at the moment because it's too expensive. But
Oh, it's absurd.
yeah,
Yeah.
but later when like they reset the dollar, then we'll
Yeah.
no, just kidding. No. When the executive order comes through and they reset the dollar. Um, but no, I was thinking like when you were saying that traveling was like a good use of your time. Do, Now we'll go back into the guilt part of it, right?
Well, totally.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you feel like the fact that you got to travel, number one, and experience all those cultures and all that stuff, is there like, because you felt superior, right, during that time, do you feel like that like kind of intersects a little bit with that idea that you're not, you have no kind of inference or um I guess it's like that knowing, like the absolute thing, right? Like that it's,
Sure.
yeah. Do you see what I'm saying here? Where it's like the you can't know everything about whatever culture that you're delving yourself into. So did you feel like it's actually a good use of your time, or that you're just getting like the surface level bullshit of like,
Well,
oh
there's a
yeah,
lot of things. I remember there was one time like I was traveling with someone, right? And
mm.
at the time, like we had been to a
What
bunch of
was his
countries
name? No, I'm
together.
just kidding. No.
We had been to a bunch of countries together, and she was like, "Yeah, I just think like, what's the point sometimes? Because everywhere you go, it's the same people."
Yeah,
And I was like, I don't feel that way one bit.
yeah,
But I think there's variance in it because like I also kind of get that. Like I feel that way when people are like, oh, like I went to this country and it's a third world country and blah blah, and they always say it with this weight, and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
just people, they
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
don't
They're
have
living like
money.
you are. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's just
yeah,
like I mean, yeah, it's not, and
yeah,
like I think there is something to that like
hmm,
seeing that like way other people live their lives,
yeah,
especially because I think like the U.S. at the time, especially when I went to Italy the first time studying abroad,
Yeah.
I came back feeling super superior
Yeah, of
because
course.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, well,
Italy.
the way everyone in the US lives is so fucked. And like,
Yeah, yeah.
here's this.
The
And,
US is a
and
third world country.
yeah, exactly. And like, in a way, like, I get that. And I still feel that at times. Like,
Yeah,
especially when I think about like the insularness, right? Like,
yeah,
people
yeah.
don't even get that you could live other
Yeah.
ways. But yeah, I don't know if it's good use of your time because I don't know if you get closer. I think in like by learning a language, you can get close to understanding a mental mindset as
Yeah.
much as living there. But I think
Yeah.
they both teach you things. Like you're learning how to navigate, you're learning how to live within a different like worldscape than
Yeah.
your own.
But why do you
Um,
but why do you have to use the culture and the people to learn those
I
things?
mean, it's a fair question, and it's
Yeah,
also it's like I always offset the guilt of that in some ways by just being like, oh well, like I don't have money, I'm not doing really any tourist shit. Like
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I live here, I work for
yeah.
because like the way I would travel was like I would go a place,
Mhm.
rent this. Here we go. This automatically disqualifies my lack of guilt, but I
Yeah.
would rent a place for a month
Yeah.
on Airbnb.
Oh,
So there's the
fancy.
guilt right
Yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
But like when you would rent for a month, you would get very close to like local rent prices.
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
discount
Yeah.
it heavily. So you would go somewhere and it would be like $500
Mhm.
for a month for that place, which maybe would have been like 300 if you had done it
Yeah,
directly.
yeah.
So still more, but not the like 2K that people who come
People would.
nightly are
Yeah,
paying.
yeah.
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 Um, and so I would do that and I would like live in the city. I would work every day and I was teaching online. I was
Mhm.
teaching English students in China. And then I
Yeah.
would like go out and explore and so on. It was, I don't know, it felt like I was doing something different and I had found a way that didn't feel like that complete extracted travel,
Yeah.
Like, with that said, I don't know how much of that is just like one person like we all like you talking about your empathy and you're like, here's why I actually think I am empathetic. Like
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
much of these things is just like us justifying? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah. No, it's
know,
all yeah, yeah. It's all
but like,
justification. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's all life
Um,
is, I feel like, is just you justifying yourself until you die. Like that's all
no, I in
right.
some ways I agree. And I mean it's like again, like I am aware of like this immensely like privileged position, I
Yeah,
exist
yeah,
with and so
yeah,
on.
yeah,
So I think some of it is the nature of like just trying to be aware of that
yeah,
constantly.
yeah.
But I think there's also the element of like, it's very easy. And I think I spend a lot of my life doing this. It's like just apologizing and trying to make yourself like not do things because you're like, I just can't square that with who I am. And I
Hmm.
think there's that, which makes sense. There's like your clear calls, and then there's like, I don't know, there's all this ethical
Well,
grayness
yeah, no,
of
and that's
most of
yeah,
life.
yeah, and that's like I talked about this in a couple of the other episodes where like the morality, like good and
Mm-hmm.
bad, and what the definitions of
Turning
those
my
two
light
things are.
on.
No, you're good. Um, like what the definition of those two words are, right? What is good,
Yeah.
what is bad, and I mean, I feel like inherently people know these things. Like it's kind of a common sense deal occasionally. But one of my other guests, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, if it wasn't just some conversation I was having somebody else, the when like we were talking about a psychopath and things like that earlier, right?
Yeah.
It's like their idea of good and bad is skewed, right? But that's like,
Well,
yeah, you
this
know,
is the thing too.
yeah,
We were just talking like, so yes, we're making justifications to some extent throughout this. And I feel they're reasonable justifications. They're like explanations of your viewpoint.
mhm.
But like everyone to some extent, not everyone, but most people are like the main character in their own story,
Yeah,
right?
of
They're
course,
their
yeah,
own
yeah,
like, and their actions are justified.
yeah,
And so, at what point does that cross over? And that's what makes something like Breaking Bad or even Ozark, which I
yeah,
told you I
yeah.
was
Ozark,
watching,
yeah, yeah.
like good is
Have you
that.
finished watching that show yet?
No, I just got
Okay,
to the end
well,
of season
it's
three.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and again, it's another one of those shows where it's about like the at what point have you totally gone over this. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, at what point are your justifications becoming more and more absurd as you
yeah,
go? Um, Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but that was that.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, good and evil, and
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer to good and evil in that sense either, because it's like it's the same question that like, you know, I think of the banality of evil thing a lot. Like
mhm.
I think of like that idea of like, yeah, we're evil is just like not doing anything in the face of what you know is wrong,
Yeah,
or just like going along with things. I think of it especially in times like these, right? Where
yeah,
it's like you have this massive push by something like ICE. You have like um, the genocide in Palestine. You have all
yeah.
these things,
Mhm.
and at what point is it evil that we just like live our lives? Because
Well,
like again, like
yeah,
I don't know. It's just like yeah, who knew it would be all this
yeah.
bland?
But yeah, but then like, of course, then you have the argument of like, what, like if you want to practice empathy, right?
Yeah,
The scary thing exercise, I guess, is to how do those people justify what they do, and if you were in their shoes, what, you know what I mean? Like, you see where
yeah.
I'm going with
Well,
this?
okay.
It's
So
like
no,
it's
this is the
scary, but
thing.
that's the thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
and
yeah,
so I don't know. You've read into Buddhism a bit,
yeah,
right?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
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 and I
yeah,
mean, I remember like I was into it for a while, partially as like it was kind of therapy at some point
yeah,
for me
yeah,
in my
yeah,
like
yeah.
last relationship, which was shit. It was like my only
Uh-huh.
way of being able to inhabit constant like empathy
Yeah,
was
yeah,
because in some ways like that's what like monks are like training to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so like I remember this passage in one of Thich Nhat Hanh's book where he's talking about like, oh, and I understood that like everyone in this story, and it was a horrible story about like rape and murder and all of
Yeah,
these.
yeah.
And he's like, and I understood I was everyone in that story, right? And
Mhm.
it's that idea of like, yeah, we're all part of everyone, and different life paths lead people in these directions and so on. And I get that. And I felt that like emotion, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like on mushrooms or something, like especially like, but I think there's also an element of like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like you were saying, there are things that are clearly one, like are clearly so outside of the bounds of like
yeah,
what we've established as a society that
yeah,
like they don't count. You know, like
yeah,
there's no justification, which doesn't mean that like they don't happen, there aren't reasons.
yeah,
That it's just there's nothing to be said for them. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah. And if and
I
if
don't
and
know.
if the no and if the I get, yeah, no, I totally agree. But if like there's this duality in both good and evil, right? But then there's also like in the universe itself, there's a duality. And what, like, where does it what does the universe perceive as the right or the left or the good or the bad or the whatever? You
Yeah.
know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
this is
Like,
also getting
that's
into the question of like, can you know the universe,
no,
right?
I know. I mean,
Kantian
like,
thing of like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
universe is the
yeah, yeah.
infinite
Can you know
unknowable.
God, right? Like,
Can
that's
you
the,
know
yeah, yeah,
evil?
yeah. Can
You
you know
know, like
evil?
I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, when you think of the show Mindhunter, another great
Hmm.
show, right? Like
We talked
that
about it
show,
yesterday. Yeah, on the last
nice. That
podcast. Yeah,
show is another great example of like wanting, in some ways, the idea of wanting to know evil, right?
yeah,
Wanting to understand evil. And sure, it was sorry, it was for this reason, this cop, like whatever. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, can you know? Does the universe care? You know what
yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah,
like, I think, yeah, in some ways, there's the element of like, we are like a piece of this beautiful grand story. And also
yeah,
it's like people talk about nature. This happens in my work because I do
yeah.
ego
Because the
criticism,
nature
right?
thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. People I know like will talk about nature as if it's like a benevolent force,
yeah.
or like if it's like good, synonymous with good, like nature equals good. And like don't get me wrong, like I love the like environment, like their ecological world, I guess
Yeah,
would be a better way to say
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like I am fascinated by it. But the thing is like it's not good or bad, right?
mhm.
Like I think good or bad in these sense, in terms of morality, is like a purely human concept,
Yeah.
because it's yeah, and it's related to like
Experience, like we were
things.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas like yeah, okay, so you watch a nature documentary and
Mhm.
the lion is chasing the gazelle and you're like, oh fuck. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I don't want it to catch in, but at
No.
the same time, there's nothing evil there.
No. It's
Like
nature.
now
It's
there
like, yeah, yeah,
now there is evil within, like, I mean, there are like animals that, yeah, like do horrible things for no
yeah,
reason that we understand. And
yeah,
it's like, is that evil then? Do they have like morality? But like, is that morality that we can judge, or is that morality within themselves? I don't know. Again, it
yeah,
goes back to that unknowable thing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
can you judge something you don't understand?
yeah,
Like, I don't know.
yeah. Because we don't, because we, until we're able to, and we we talked a little bit about Elon Musk
Oh God,
last
no.
podcast, but not like anything great. I was just like, hurry up and figure all these things out, Elon, since you have all the answers. And
Oh
that's I
God.
always say that in this podcast is that, like, yeah, until we're able to like transfer our brains over into somebody else, hurry it up, Elon, get us to get to, figure it out. Hurry up and figure that out.
God,
Yeah,
this.
we're
Yeah.
never gonna really know, right? We're never gonna really know
Yeah,
what their perception is, and does that discount the idea of empathy as a whole, anyway, like in itself? Like, does that discount it? Because you can't really, with the perception of some other person, right? You will have no idea how they, like, the emotions they feel. So I've met people, right? That at the drop of a hat they'll start crying about something, or at the drop of the hat they'll get
sure.
extremely upset and pissed off and angry, right, about
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I think,
And
yeah.
yeah, and like, I don't feel
That
that way.
switch.
Yeah, the switch. And I don't feel that way often. I mean, sometimes I get angry, sometimes I cry,
Sure.
like
Yeah,
everybody does,
same.
right? But
Yeah.
it's not like at the drop of a hat kind of thing. It takes like
Well,
some
and it's the
stuff.
intensity of it, I think,
Yeah,
too.
the
Because, like, I've
intensity.
seen that in myself where I'm like, oh, why am I annoyed so quickly by this?
Yeah, yeah,
But, like, then the intensity or the, like, longevity of that can be
yeah,
something. But again, that's the thing of scale, not of, like, kind. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
difference in,
yeah.
like, the. So I don't,
But that's like the
yeah,
thing when you have when you perceive, I guess, the world through somebody else's viewpoint.
yeah.
Like, how do you do that when their intensity levels are so, like,
So different
so
than, yeah.
different?
Because
You know?
again, you can get there, like, I think if you sit there and get there, but again, like, sometimes, in some ways, I feel like times I have sat there in a moment with someone who does feel that way,
Hmm.
that like it overwhelms me,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I'm just like, yeah, the thing is, like, I'm not interested in like existing within the world. It's like,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is again that selfishness coming
yeah,
back
yeah,
in, where
yeah,
like to really be there for something that is that different,
yeah,
that is that like, it requires a bit of giving up of something of yourself, like giving
yeah,
up some of your own, like, I don't know,
yeah,
consciousness.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I've also, like, in a similar way, like I've had conversations with people, and I'm sure you have too, where you're talking and you're just like, wow, this conversation is draining. I have
yeah.
no
That's
clue
right.
what we're saying.
Yeah,
And like I just like everything feels like a non sequitur, and you're
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
what did that have to do with the last thing we were
Psychic
talking about?
vampires. That's what those feel.
Yes,
Right?
and
Yeah,
yeah, and it's the same thing there where you're just like, what is, yeah, that's a great show too.
yeah,
What we do in the shadows.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, that's the concept too of like, what do we, yeah, like, how do you have empathy in that situation? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because you're just like,
yeah,
I can't understand the way your mind is processing any of
yeah.
this.
Hmm. And if I did, and if I could, if I did, I'd probably not want to be on this planet anymore. Like, you know what I
It,
mean?
it is, yeah, it's just so, because in a way, it's like the antithesis of you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, yeah, you know, and
And how do you? And then it's like, how do you
how
give
do you
them
get your
any?
synthesis?
Well, yeah, how do you give them any advice about what to do
Yeah,
next, or like, how do you tell them that you've honestly? Because that's the problem I have most of the time, I guess, with empathy as a whole, is that, like, I can't be empathetic and be honest about that empathy, because my brand of empathy, in that I put myself in the person's shoes. Obviously, I'm not seeing things in their perspective, so how can I give an honest opinion or feel honestly in the way that they feel? This, you know what I mean? It's like,
well,
if
it's interesting. So much of this comes down to like, how can I give an opinion? Where it's like, I don't know, are they asking for an opinion as
I'm
part
not,
of
I
it?
mean,
But
no,
then
well,
it's also like,
yeah, no, that's true. They're not often asking for opinion. They're just like, could you imagine how I feel? Which,
yeah,
could you imagine how I feel is still an opinion, I feel like, in some ways. Like, Could you imagine how I feel? Yes or no? Like that's, you know what I mean? And if I say no, I can't, then I'm an asshole, right? But if I say yes, I can, I'm going to be crying and pissed off like they are, right?
Oh, that's a
Okay.
hot take.
So no,
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure. I'm not.
it's not exactly a hot take if you really like,
I'm not sure I'm convinced
delve
with the
deep in
idea
it.
of can you imagine how I feel is an opinionated question.
Yeah.
But I do get what you're saying, where it's like,
But there's no honesty there if I can't actually understand where they're coming
if you
from
can or
if I can't. Like if I can't
if you
understand
can't.
and I say, "Oh yes, I totally understand." Like if I say
Well, no,
that,
I
it's
guess, but no,
bullshit,
I mean,
right?
the correct answer then is no, right? The
Yeah, but
correct
then
answer
again,
is
but then if you say no, then it's like, "Wow, you're a dick." Like, you know what I mean? Like you're an asshole because you said no, you can't
yeah,
understand how I feel.
I
You
get what
know,
you're saying.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so but then if I say yes, I'm lying, which I feel is even more dickish because it's like I'm also like I'm just appeasing them at that point, right?
Yeah.
And without actually feeling the way that
Well,
they
and I
feel,
think,
right?
yeah, yeah, I get you. I get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about like a very specific,
No,
like
yeah,
high
yeah, yeah.
intensity situation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, but it, no, but I mean, even if it's the same with like, yeah, I've been homeless before, right? I was homeless when I was
Yeah.
18 or whatever. But when I said like, oh, the homeless people that live by Petco Park and like are hungry and all that stuff, like I can remember how I felt back then and how it felt to be homeless and everything.
Yeah.
But right now, how would I feel if I was homeless? It'd be like the end of the world for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would not want to be living next to Petco Park in a tent.
Yeah.
Like I would not want to be in that
Do you
situation.
think that is partially like the age difference in like at 18 versus now? Do you think it's the
Yeah, at
situation in the
18 it felt
like?
like an adventure. At 18 it
Okay.
was like, oh, like I'm a hobo. This is cool. It's like I've seen, I watched TV and movies where they're on a train with the stick and the bag, and all that shit. And
Totally.
I'm like, wow, it's like Huckleberry Finn or
You
whatever,
read the
right? Yeah,
beats and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 whatever, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's all city lights bullshit, right? Okay. And then
Yeah.
but then like now as a 40-year-old man who has like his shit halfway together or partially,
Yeah.
right? If I had to go live in a tent over by a major stadium and like beg for money and
Yeah.
change and stuff, I'd probably like I'd last one day, if that, and I'd want to like jump off the Coronado Bridge. Like I just wouldn't want to, deal with it at all.
Yeah.
So, do I have empathy about how they feel over there? I don't know because they could, in their own minds, feel like it's like just that's the way. Because there's some people that feel that way where they're like, that's the way life is.
Yeah.
There's some people that don't feel that way who are like crying and on their knees the entire
Totally.
day, like screaming at God, like, why the fuck did you put me in this situation? Those are the people that I guess I feel more empathy for, quote unquote, or that I could feel the empathy about. The people that like don't really give a shit, or they're like, oh yeah, this is just the way it is. Like, do you really what like I can't feel empathy for that because I don't feel that way. Like it's not really how it is. Like you could get your shit together
But
if you
isn't the
really
whole point of
try,
empathy
like
like, isn't the whole point of empathy feeling a way like you don't automatically feel?
but how can you do that? How can you do that if you have no preconceived experience feeling those things?
I
And
guess you just have
without
to
it
sit
being
there and
without
like,
lying about it. Like okay, when I'm an actor like on screen or
sure.
whatever, right? Like obviously I'm playing a character that I know nothing about. Is that a form of empathy? I don't think it is because I'm lying. Like I'm lying and you see
Hmm.
what I mean? Like I'm pretending to be somebody else, but it's like I'm either being paid for it or like whatever. So it's like
So then is all you can know your
my
emotions. You can't
yeah,
know
yeah.
anything outside of your
which is
emotions
which
is
is
your
which is a
Kantian
for
claim here.
yeah, yeah, which is a method, which is an acting method, right? Where they say like think about
Sure,
all the
you inform, yeah.
experiences. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You inform your performance with like your life or
Well,
whatever.
I mean, maybe this gets back to writing in some way too, where it's
Yeah.
like, but when you write a character,
Hmm.
is the character just a version of you, or are they something beyond that?
Yeah, we talked about that last episode too,
Right?
because I said that well,
Well,
because
how
I
can I compete with a nine
no, I
hour
know a
episode,
9 hour
Robert?
podcast. No, I know, I get it. No, we talked about a lot of things, believe me. But it was yeah, it's funny. I think I've recorded about 9 hours worth of podcast up until that point, and then now it's like the half
Now
of
it's
my
doubled,
yeah, it's
yeah.
doubled now,
You
and then
maybe you should split it up. Do like three big
I don't
ones.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. I told Matt that I thought that people would get annoyed by that. I said because they're like, oh wow, the same guests for 3 episodes in a row. Like that's kind of
Maybe.
and
I mean,
yeah. I don't know. Well,
But I guess it comes down to too the question of like, put yourself in their shoes, Robert.
That's
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
what's
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have so
how
and
you,
I yeah, and I have so much hard drive space too. So they need to put themselves into my shoes as well.
yeah, that's
But
fair.
like,
That's fair.
I
Yeah,
don't own a fucking
that's very
server or whatever.
unsensitive,
Yeah, yeah,
unempathetic
yeah.
of you, but
Yeah, that's
go
right.
on.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not Joe Rogan. Okay, I can't I can't figure in his. You know why
I
I call him
thank my
Joe
life every
Rogan?
day for that. No, he's gone bald.
Yeah, because he's bald. I call him Joe
I mean,
Rogan.
I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah.
bald too.
Are you
I've been
really? Turn
working
around. Let
on
me see. What do you got going on?
it's up here. I shouldn't.
It's not that bad.
I know. I mean, I'm trying
My
my best.
hairline.
It's
Look at my
my
hairline.
hairline's going back,
Going.
but
It's like yeah,
it's
yeah,
worse. It's better when it's short.
yeah.
As soon as it gets long, you can see the bald spot coming
Can you?
in.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, I'm like I never see. That's the thing. I guess we can kind of go into that with the empathy thing too. Is that like when it comes to the way somebody looks, like
hmm
or whatever, or their perception of the way other people view themselves as how they look or
yes,
whatever.
yeah.
Like that's a to me. I can't
See,
empathize with
I'm
that.
partially
Like,
with you, but I think
yeah,
this
yeah.
is partially like a socialized male thing.
It
Number
is.
one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
It
it's
is.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
but also like, yeah, I have the problem where I'm like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
but that's the same. I mean, it's a very different situation, but to go back, like, but there's things you could do.
there is.
In the
Yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
way you were talking about the people who are like, yeah, like I'm homeless. I feel, this is just
Whatever.
like what my
Yeah,
life
yeah.
is.
You're that part of
Like
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're that
because there is the
version.
way in which
Yeah.
like if you support the idea of like gender affirming care or something like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that does mean like
That's true. No, no, that's true.
hair
Yeah,
plugs
yeah.
and stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah.
does mean
Yeah, yeah.
and I can get why you would want it and I could get why did you see the movie what was it that who it was Dakota Johnson and like Mark Ruffalo or something
Ah,
the
man. Yeah.
Materialists
I haven't seen it. No, but I heard about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah there's a gist in there where he's like a rich dude and he had gone to somewhere to get the like height implant
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
And, and he's like, yeah, it was super painful. It was all this. But he's like, but I had the money. And he's like, and would you have dated me if I was 5 inches shorter? And she was like, no,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's one of those things where I kind of get that.
Yeah.
And also, like,
But
there's no
now we're getting
having.
into aesthetic philosophy right now, which like which like I'm sure is in this book somewhere. But yeah, no, yeah, we're getting into that now, which is
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
I guess my thing though comes down to the gist between like, yeah, but morality, goodness, but what to what extent are the actions you take like creating the world
yeah,
you live in, right? That's the whole idea of karma, right? It's like
yeah.
your action creates the world you live in. And so like
Does your inaction also create that world?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean that's a yeah, I
Listen up,
guess.
audience. No, I'm just kidding.
In a way, I mean, yeah. Um,
That's funny.
so I don't know. Yeah.
No, yeah, no, because I've always, obviously, I'm not, I don't feel like I'm the most well-kept human being in the world. I get told all the time, trim your beard, do this, do that. And I oftentimes I go, why? Like, who gives a shit? Like, I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Not that I don't care how I look. Obviously, if I had like, I take unbelievably long showers. I mean, my
Okay.
showers are like 45 minutes to an hour almost, like every time yeah, which, yeah, a lot of people get like, they're always like, God, my wife calls me a girl sometimes. She goes, you're such a girl. That's what she'll say. Because I'm in there and I put on the Bath and Body Works lotions, all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I love all that
Oh
shit. I
yeah.
like smelling good. I like
That's
feeling
fair. I
clean.
love my baths. I
Yeah,
love a
yeah. Oh,
love a
do you have
bath.
bath? Yeah, I haven't taken a
Yeah,
bath in
yeah.
a long time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I usually just do showers. But when I'm in we went to me and my wife we went to the Cosmopolitan. We stayed there at in Old Town, the big hotel
Okay.
there, and they had copper tubs in the thing.
Ooh.
And so we went, yeah, we took baths in there in the copper tubs. It was pretty cool. And I hadn't taken a bath in probably since I was a kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we did that, and I was like, wow, that was fun. And so but yeah, I've only like showers and shit. I'm like very much like a 45 minute to an hour, which I know is a huge waste of water. And I know that you're like an eco guy, so you're probably like, there's no
I
tears
mean,
being
I
said.
train AI models all day,
That's
like
right.
I have
That's
like
right.
again, my
Yeah,
morality
yeah,
is
yeah,
all
yeah. Is that
fucked.
what we're going
Like
to talk about now? No, no, it's
I
just
don't have anywhere to stand
the
when it comes
philosophy of
to
AI. That's not going to be, what's funny is that's actually probably not going to be in this book because this book is from 1990. three or four or something like that.
It
And
might still, I
it might still,
mean,
I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked, but like AI,
sci-fi had been writing about it.
sci-fi
I
has been
mean,
what, yeah, that's true.
cyberpunk
It
was
could be in
before
there.
that.
It could be in there. But yeah, artificial intelligence has been, yeah, around since, yeah,
Yeah,
forever. But yeah, no, the philosophy behind AI and the philosophy, I guess, behind the use of AI, especially now that we know how much it takes away from the environment.
drinking water,
Yeah,
yeah,
the drinking water, all that
environmental,
stuff.
absolute.
Like, is it evil because it's taking away from the good of the of nature and the environment, or is, like you said, the good and evil of nature and the environment is a non sequitur when it comes to like whether or not you
I
have these
mean,
thoughts, you know?
I don't know. In a way, I think there is. I think if it's evil, a lot of it is like that banal evil, right?
Mhm.
It's just like you do it without even realizing,
Yeah,
like especially because um I think like the way most people use AI is like Google, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
oh, I'm using it as like a replacement for Google search.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's so easy to do that. I do think it is, I think the like ideology behind it is like somewhat evil in the sense that like Karen Howe, her book Empire of AI,
Okay.
she has this part where she interviews the OpenAI people and they're like talking about they're doing their whole propaganda spiel.
Ah.
And one of them says like, oh, but like AI will solve climate change. This is one of my favorite things. They're like, AI will solve climate change. And you're like, how do you
AI
think
is
that?
climate change.
Exactly. You're like, the solutions to climate change
Yeah,
already exist. There's no like we need to solve it. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
we already know the solutions. No
yeah,
one wants to do them.
yeah.
So like is
Well,
that evil too?
part
You
of
know
the
what I mean? Like is
well,
that
yeah, but unfortunately, part of the solution is I mean, I feel, and I guess this is going to sound evil when I say it. Part of the solution is the death of millions of people. Like that's literally what it's going to have to take
I
at
mean,
some point, or
it
billions of
does
people,
and it
really.
doesn't, to be honest. Like there's ways to do it without massive depopulation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could do it slowly, you could do like yeah, there's ways that it
Are
can
you
make
go
it work.
so if you do it slowly without depopulation, will
Mhm.
like the effects of it of the are those felt in like on a grand scale or in a shorter timeline? Because like I think sometimes I'm like, well, if I save a plastic bag today or a paper bag or whatever, like what I did right now to like help the environment, that won't, like, I'll be long dead before that ever becomes like a,
Well, we
you know.
did talk about this. Yeah, I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I mean, there's the great book that Kim Stanley Robinson, like his last novel is like
Mm.
Ministry for the Future. And it's
Okay.
because the idea is the only way you can think about this is in terms of like if people in the future have rights already,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
And or you can think of it in terms of like
Now we're going
there's
into
this concept.
pro-choice and pro-life argument right
Well,
now.
totally not saying that.
No, I
Not
know.
going, but I just mean
Do babies in the
that
womb have a choice? No,
oh,
no.
stop. But there's also the idea of like collective continuance, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like, yeah, like the idea that like, well, what's good is what allows this world as we have it to go on to
yeah.
some
Hmm.
extent, like us to go on, our
Yeah.
society. And so like, yeah, at that point, like, yeah, you'll never feel the effects, but also, I don't know. It's hard too, because I think this is where I get into those grays where, the purely moral choice would be you live in one of those zero waste communities
Yeah.
and you devote your life to trying to like minimize your waste.
Yeah.
But like the problem becomes like I knew someone who did that in Berlin for a while and she was talking about it and she was a fascinating person, but at the end she was like, the thing is like I lived there for 5 years. At the end, we had spent like almost all of our free time, again, how you spend your free time, right?
Yeah,
Comes in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had spent like all of our free time minimizing how little waste. And she's like, and then I left to come here. And I'm like, what did it all matter when
Yeah.
10 of us do this in the face of this massive like metropolis?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like this is all happening around. Like, so it again, it's the whole how stupid individual choice is in the face of like mass society.
Yeah. And do you so I love that. That made me think of a Bukowski quote. You remember when he said, "What did he say?" He goes, "Whenever you see the crowd, turn the other way." Like that's the only, yeah, yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, turn the other way.
Which again would then be doing the like zero waste thing,
Yeah,
you
that would
know,
be,
in
yeah,
some
yeah,
weird way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, because most people don't give a shit, and
Yeah. And society is
I've
like
been,
mass
yeah,
delusion to some extent, you know? It's
I've
like,
been guilty of it. Like I've been guilty of, excuse me, not caring about anything to
yeah,
do with the environment or like waste or whatever. But
yeah.
now I have a blue trash can outside, and so
Nice.
I have now I have two trash cans. I got one for the the cans and the paper and all that shit. And then I have the one for the trash and all that. And then we have a green one too for like food waste and stuff,
Yep.
which like I'll be honest, I don't use it for that. We use it for like the lawn trimmings and shit like that.
Yeah, which
And
is the
so,
other thing it's
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like if you would have told like 18-year-old Robert or 17-year-old Robert, yeah, you're going to be divvying trash up like between the thing, whatever, he would have been like, are you fucking insane? Like, there's no way. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of, waste of all these things. And then like, but if you told 8-year-old Robert that, who was all about recycle Rex, that was there was there was
Oh,
a T-Rex at because I love dinosaurs. Jurassic Park's
uh-huh.
like my favorite movie of all time. And so they had this giant this guy who used to come in this giant like inflatable T-Rex costume to the schools in Hollywood, and they call his name was Recycle Rex. And I remember
Nice.
drawing him and being like, "Oh man, Recycle Rex is the best." And well, the funny part about this story, and I guess like the kind of sad part in some ways, is that so my father, I think I told you, my stepdad he was a transient, he was a homeless dude, and
Yeah.
he never liked sleeping indoors. It was like always wanted to be
Okay.
outside, and he went bottle and canning all the time. That was like his thing, like getting bottles and
Yeah.
cans and trading them for money. So like I was really into Recycle Rex, and I guess subconsciously I was into Recycle Rex because literally that was like what I did on the weekends. When
Yeah.
my dad would take me and my brothers, and we'd go up and down Hollywood Boulevard, and he'd pick us up because we were little, we were like 7, 8 years old, whatever. He'd pick us up and put us into dumpsters, and he'd be like, get the cans and the bottles, Robbie." And we'd get the cans and bottles, we'd reach up and give it to him and stuff, and he'd fill the bags, and then we'd use that money that we got for like pizza and movies and things like that.
Hell yeah. You were
Blockbuster.
doing Recycle Rex. You were
I
like
did recycle
living
Rex when I was
Recycle
but it
Rex.
was when I
Yeah.
was a kid, and I guess I got once my parents died and all that, and I got all emo or whatever about it, and like and was doing drugs and all that shit. I
Yeah.
was like, who gives a fuck about recycle Rex? Who gives a fuck about recycling in general? And like, we're all gonna die. It was very like the nihilist thing, you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was like very Nietzschean, and it was like,
When you get to that theory, have me back on. You know, we'll
yeah,
talk
yeah,
all about
yeah.
nihilism.
We can talk about that a little bit. I mean, it's not a big deal, but no,
We still
yeah.
probably have like 2,000 to go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. There's 5,000 theories, so yeah, it's probably in the middle somewhere. But even though Nietzsche, I think the story goes my old mentor Hal Jaffe, he told me the story about how he was like walking down the street and he saw a dray horse being like beaten. It was like on its side, and the guy was beating the dray horse. And Nietzsche's like this guy, like fuck everything, whatever, a nihilist guy. He like runs and gets in between the guy beating him and the horse, and like starts getting whipped. And this is like when Nietzsche's like an old man, and so he's sitting there.
yeah.
This guy's whipping an old man, and he's crying and all this stuff. And it was like that was one of his last kind of like things he did before he died. And what like to me when I hear that story, it reminds me of like when they said Christopher Hitchens on his deathbed accepted Christ. Like the guy who's like one of the biggest atheists of all time. It's like like do you get to a point when you're facing death or when you're close to it where you kind of just go, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna try this thing that I didn't do to see if it
But
like
I
if
think,
it holds, whatever. Like what part of your belief system will
I
you
mean, I
not?
do get
Yeah,
that. There is an element of like, I think especially like, I think of myself 10 years ago, like, I would say my belief system was much more like rigid. So
yeah,
it does become this thing where like, over time, like everything entropically declines
yeah,
towards
yeah, yeah, yeah,
nothingness.
yeah, yeah.
So like there is that bit where yeah, it's like how long can you hold the shape for,
Yeah, yeah.
Like but also, I don't know. I mean, the Nietzsche story, I'm partially like, well, Nietzsche wasn't like Nietzsche didn't hate everything,
No, no,
but
no, yeah,
like
yeah.
it wasn't like, yeah, I think there because there's elements of like Nietzsche that are like breathtakingly beautiful in
Hmm.
terms of like the, in the same way that like that Buddhist idea of like accepting everything, right?
Yeah.
Where, the idea of eternal recurrence is like that everything, like he has this quote that's like, if you can accept one moment, like if you have one moment where like your heart rings like a bell or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, and like you affirm it and you think this moment is good, like all of creation was needed to create that
Create that
moment.
moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, and there's a determinism to that, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
also like, yeah, but that's also just tracing paths back. So if you've had that one moment at some point, like you can't say like all of creation is bad because you've had that moment.
But then the opposite can be true, right?
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the opposite, it feels like all of
That's
creation like
as
is a
like fuck
scam.
you, right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I don't,
Yeah.
but again, that goes back to the extremes and like that quick
Yeah.
snap or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
it's more of it's a flow. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. So you said quick snap, and it made me immediately think of in the MCU. Are you excited
You've
for?
been playing Marvel Snap.
No. I haven't been playing it. No, but I've heard of it. I just haven't played it.
Yeah,
But
but yeah,
no,
you can.
are you excited for Doomsday? Do you think it's going to be a?
I have not kept up with the MCU since I definitely I watched them all up until Endgame. Like I was
Yeah. Okay.
very
But
into
that was
that.
it.
And
You
then
didn't do anything else
no,
after
I
that. No.
watched some of the ones after that, but
Yeah.
like it's hard to tell you which because there was just kind of nothing
I know
happening,
they just didn't do much. Yeah.
and like some of them were fun and I watched them a few times, but like I think what it was the one I watched recently that I was like, I don't know, it wasn't that bad. And you were like, oh no, that was Superman. I
Yeah,
actually liked the new
trash. I
Superman.
talked about
No,
that in the last podcast. Sorry.
I liked it. So we'll
No,
skip. We'll skip
so did
that.
Matt. So did other Matt. Other Matt loved it too.
I mean, I
Yeah,
liked
yeah,
it. Yeah. But
yeah.
no, I mean, I think even like the some of the other Marvel ones are fun, but then some of them I was just like, I just like I wasn't having fun. Like Ant-Man the third one or whatever.
Yeah, I
I
wasn't.
didn't really I didn't make it through.
Yeah.
I
The
like watched a
Kang
bit and was
thing.
like, I'm
Yeah.
not having a good time here. And
Yeah.
then some of the shows were just utter
No,
terrible.
there's
Like I wanted to like that the one with Amelia Clark. What's that one?
Oh, Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Partially because I
Yeah.
liked the comic for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. The
And
crawls and
like
all that. Yeah.
it was horrible. I never made it through that show,
Yeah.
and like
Hmm.
things like that. But I had some fun time. I like the Hawkeye one. That was after
Yeah.
Endgame.
Hawkeye
The
was all
Hawkeye
right.
show
Yeah. Hawkeye was all right.
it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Echo wasn't that great.
I didn't
Um,
watch that
no, it
one.
wasn't that great. And then, but Daredevil Born Again was great. I thought it
I haven't
was.
actually watched that, but
Oh,
I'm
dude, you
sure it
should
was
watch
good.
it. It's pretty
Yeah,
good. Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
sure it
good.
was
And
good.
they're making the second season's coming out soon too. And it looked.
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
saw
I
the
liked
trailer.
in the Charlie Cox thing too. I liked She-Hulk. I liked that one. That
Oh,
was one
did
I
you
actually had
really?
fun with.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge
I
fan of
mean,
that.
I can
But
see how you could hate it, but
well,
I
no, I
was in a
didn't. No,
mood
I
where I
didn't
was
hate
open
it.
for playfulness.
I didn't hate it.
Okay, you didn't
Yeah,
hate
yeah.
it. You didn't
Well,
hate it.
no,
I
I
got
didn't
you.
hate it for the reasons that you probably think I hated it. I
No, I
hated it.
wasn't
Yeah,
saying you're a misogynist or
yeah.
anything. Like we weren't going there.
You have no
I,
empathy, Robert. No, it's good.
you
No.
lack
You like
understanding of other people's
yeah, you
perspectives.
like a feminist
Um,
perspective, Robert.
yeah, that's
But
not where I was going, but
yeah, but no, I didn't like it because I've read She-Hulk before, and I just felt like she didn't embody the character. And I love the actress. I forget her name right
yeah,
now.
Tatiana
Yeah, Tatiana.
Maslany.
Yeah. Because she was
Yeah.
great in the Perry Mason.
Yes.
Did you
Oh
watch?
no, I was thinking, did you ever watch?
Orphan Black or Black?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
haven't watched that, but
so good.
yeah, I heard it's
Yeah.
great, and I will watch it eventually. But the
Yeah.
first thing I saw her in was the remake of Perry Mason with
Okay.
Jonathan Rhys, I think is in it, and
Okay, I don't know.
yeah, and she plays like the I want to say she plays the antagonist, but it's like not really. She plays like the face of the antagonist essentially, like
Yeah.
and she was amazing in that, and I was like, holy shit. And then it got announced that she was going to be She-Hulk, and I thought, well, fuck, if she's going to be
Yeah.
She-Hulk, this is going to be great. And I just felt like she didn't embody that character that I read in the comic books, because like she's like in She-Hulk the comic, yes, she's playful and all those things, but like she could be stoic, she could be like, there's a bunch of
Yeah.
different, she has a different but it
But
wasn't that. She
that's the
was like,
Marvel
yeah,
problem. The
no, I
Marvel
know.
MCU problem is like there's no there's that's not totally true. There are moments where
There's
they
nobody reading the
actually
fucking comic books. That's what it
yeah,
is.
there's no emotional weight. Like
Yeah.
if they get to pick, they're always like, let's go with Horrible Joe.
Yeah, yeah,
corny
yeah.
joke.
That's right.
There we go.
It's the Whedon effect, right? Is what they call it,
Yeah,
something like that.
it
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
Whedon
yeah,
effect. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about another horrible person.
Yeah,
But
that's right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean but the other thing about She-Hulk is you want to see like the decline in a certain type of like artistic quality between like the original Daredevil and that is they
yeah,
recreate that scene that everyone talked about in the hallway.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like the
yeah.
one long shot of the
Yeah, the
hallway, and
long
they
shot. Yeah,
recreated in
yeah,
She-Hulk, and it's terrible.
yeah. It's not that
And you're
great.
just
Yeah, yeah.
like you're doing homage, but like horrible
It's a bad
homage.
one. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
But no, She-Hulk is going to be in the Doomsday movie, but
Okay.
Tatiana, what's her face? She has I guess come out and say that she's not doing any more MCU things ever again after this,
Oh,
and so they're going to recast She-Hulk, which I don't know with who yet or anything like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I did again. Like I didn't like it. Like it's not like up at the top. But I watched the entire thing, which like
Yeah.
even though I'm a completionist and kind of autistic in that way, I still had to, you
Yeah.
know, I still had to ease myself through some of the scene, like that hallway scene, like all those things. I was kind of like, not great. It was the same with Echo. Echo was like, but
Yeah.
Hawkeye was amazing. Daredevil was great. Secret Invasion was not great. But there were some. Again, it's the same thing with She-Hulk. There were some instances of Secret Invasion or some like scenes where I was like, I clapped or whatever because I was like,
Okay.
oh, that's cool. But like, and I felt the same way about the Eternals. Like the Eternal, everybody shit
Yeah,
on the
I
Eternals.
kind of liked the
It
Eternals. It
wasn't
got
that
shit on
bad.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't that
yeah.
bad.
It
Yeah,
wasn't. I wouldn't like
if it wasn't
tell
connected
someone to
to
watch
yeah,
it.
if it
You know
wasn't
what I
connected to
mean?
the MCU at
But
all, it would have been fun. Like if it
yeah,
wasn't, but they connected it to it, and then they didn't. There was no like payoff
yeah.
for it until what was it the Captain America Brave New World? I think is when they
Oh,
like
was there in that?
yeah,
I
yeah,
still
yeah.
haven't
They
watched
brought yeah,
that.
they talked about the Celestial and shit that
Oh,
they
okay.
yeah, yeah, and everything. And that's where they got adamantium and all this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're like they got it from the Celestial. But like the thing is like when you create something that's that, well, especially in a Disney epic universe like that, when you create
Yeah.
something like that, it should have a payoff that like reverberates through the entirety of the thing. Um, but again, I'm not the guy writing any of the shit. I'm
Well,
not in charge.
yeah. I mean, I think the thing too is like I still have a fun time with the superhero movie when I'm just like, especially like when I just want to sit down and have a good time. But I think the problem with MCU is it started to feel like homework for a while. It started to feel like, oh, I gotta watch
Yeah, all
all of
these
Secret
things. Yeah,
Invasion to
yeah,
get there. And I think a lot of people felt that, but I also think like, I fell off. Even I liked most of the Captain America movies. Not Civil War really, but I
yeah.
liked the second one. I liked the the second one. Um
Winter's
Yeah,
the
Winter Soldier. Yeah,
Winter
I
Soldier.
liked
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was
And
it was a great one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I'm sure I would have liked the new one. But again, I haven't seen it. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
so Doomsday, what are we doing with Doomsday? We had to recast. We were gonna do the villain was gonna be Kang.
yeah.
And then the
And
dude's
then Jonathan Majors.
abusive,
Well,
horrible person.
he was accused of it, and then a video came out of him doing things, and then I don't know. It was a weird thing because then people were like, "Well, it didn't like even the lady that, or even the woman that he was accused of abusing, and that was on video screaming and whatever.
Uh-huh.
Um, Even she came out and was like, he didn't do anything to me, but like people feel like the reason she did that was because of the like what happened to him, whereas like his
Mm,
entire career went to shit right afterwards, and she
yeah.
felt bad about that. So it was more of like a another victim thing, where it was like
Okay.
he was still in control of her in some ways, which
Okay.
like yeah, which at the end of the day I always feel like, and it has nothing to do with like uh whether or not I believe he should not be cast in anything ever again, because it's not up to me. It's not under my control. But if he indeed did do those things, and there is video of it, like I said,
Yeah.
um I don't understand why anybody would be upset about the fact that he wasn't cast or recast as Kang or whatever. And then there's all these other actors that are so like what's his nuts? The guy from Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Um, he played Finn. The fuck.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm
Yeah, he's
talking about.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, he could have been Kang. Like they could have just
totally.
recast his, you know, whatever. But like, um, did you put a thumbs up on my thing? What was that?
No, but you did this,
Oh, did I
and
go like that
some
and
the
then it did it?
new Zoom will like
Oh, that's weird.
recognize
It
it.
does the thing.
But
That's
the
really
thing is, it
odd.
never does it when you want it to. It does it like when you're
Yeah,
doing
because I
something
think I went
like
like
this.
that and it did. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
it did the okay. It did. Look, watch. Hold on. Yeah, there. Oh, there it is.
Nope, you can't get to do it when you want it.
There it is, right
Oh,
there.
there we
See?
go.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did it. Yeah, yeah. That's so weird. Anyway, did I care about the Kang thing? Not really. Was it weird that like they showed a bunch of Kang shit in the Loki show? Like, did you watch the Loki
Yeah,
show? Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched the first season.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the second season is very much like Kang heavy. Like it's
Okay.
like, yeah, yeah. And so and again, like it was good and Jonathan Majors was great in it and it was like I liked it a lot. But
Okay.
like
Oh, my computer's freaking out. Go ahead.
oh, is it? No, no, no. But yeah, but like is there an end to his like the Kang thing and a beginning of the Doomsday thing. Like I think that the beginning of the Doomsday movie is gonna be like everybody's speculating it's gonna be Doom's like Doctor Doom showing up and killing Kang. Like they think that that's like they're gonna have Jonathan Majors in it, and he's just gonna get killed in the beginning, and
Okay.
it's gonna be like, well now you like you know what I mean that kind of like or
Yeah,
they'll
you're
do like
like
the
now it's a bigger villain,
yeah
the
yeah well
villain
because
who you thought. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like in the comic book, you remember like Thanos, right? Like he goes up to Doctor Doom and he's like, "Well, fuck you. I have the Infinity Gauntlet." And then Doom just goes like, "Oh, really? That's cool." And then like rips his skeleton out, like Thanos' skeleton. And I feel like that's a similar thing that's going to occur
Yeah.
with Kang, where he's just like Kang's going to be like, "Well, I'm like the multiverse, like fucking the guy, whatever, the he who will not be named or whatever." And then Doctor Doom's just gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool." Rip, like, and just rip his skeleton
Okay.
out, and that'll be like
Although
the
it won't
thing.
really be that because it's Disney,
No, I
but
know
you know.
that's too similar. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I mean, you never know. You know, they a lot of them
Yeah.
have. We're talking about AI earlier. Like a lot of them have AI writing a lot of this shit. Like if you
Yeah.
if did you hear about the Stranger Things documentary?
No.
So everybody
I
was
haven't
pissed
watched the
off.
last season.
Yeah, it's not that great. And so everybody was pissed off about the ending, and then they had a documentary about the making of the ending, and they have like a their computer screen while they were writing it, and there's a browser window open, and there's like four Chat GPT windows open like on the like tabs on the thing, and you're like, okay, well now we know why it wasn't that great. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and I think, yeah, again, this is the AI issue. It's like when you're doing it because you're lazy. It's like, don't get me wrong, writing is fucking hard.
it is.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
tough.
honestly,
It's
I
tough.
don't think it's very fun.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
sometimes I have a good time, but for the most part, I'm just like, like I put off editing these final two chapters of my dissertation for a month and a half at
yeah.
this point because I'm like, oh,
Just use AI.
but
No, I'm just kidding.
exactly. So I get why people are tempted,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, what's the point of? There's a poem about it where it's like, it's poem to this student who used AI on their essay, and it's like the gist of the poem is like, what are you trying to optimize the way, like the life itself you're living? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, at what point? And I get it with work because work is work, and
yeah,
it's what we're all forced to do to live here.
yeah, yeah.
But also, when your work is a job that millions at probably at least hundreds of thousands of people would love to have, which
Oh
is
yeah,
screenwriter
writing.
on
Oh yeah,
Stranger
oh
Things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Easily.
Like,
I would love to have that job.
quit. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't even.
yeah,
They could pay me half, and I would do it. Like half of what the
they
Duffer
can't
Brothers are
because
getting.
of,
No, I
you
know,
know,
but yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
labor practices that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
exist.
No, they
But
could. I mean, I don't give a shit. They could give me like a special contract. I don't even care. It would be more than I'm making now, I'm sure. But like,
sure, it would probably still be scale even if you made half.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like, yeah, but no, you're correct. And but the other thing is that the reason I feel like AI was a lot of it was created obviously was to make money. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
the
other
main
thing,
thing.
yeah, yeah. But the other thing was that to take away mundane bullshit like work stuff for us to do, but like writing, making movies, all those things are not mundane bullshit. And that's the
Yeah.
scary part is that they're using this tool that is used to take away mundane bullshit to create mundane bullshit from the good
Well,
stuff.
and
You know
that's
what I
the
mean?
thing. It isn't. It's because it's easier. It's like as I saw an Instagram meme or whatever, which was like, yeah, I wanted it to do my laundry and
Yeah,
clean my
yeah,
dishes,
yeah,
and
yeah.
instead it's doing the writing so I can do my laundry and
And
clean
my
my
dishes.
dishes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
right.
you're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
yeah, that's backwards.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. It shouldn't be that. Yeah.
yeah,
And eventually, like, I hate to bring up Elon Musk again, but eventually,
please.
I know I have to stop doing that. I'm sorry.
I
Um,
hate that guy so
no,
much. We
he's a
could go
piece
on
of
about
shit.
that.
He's a piece of shit.
He's
But
one of my least favorite
and we
people
could
on this
talk about
planet.
how much of a piece of shit he is on here because
I
I'm
mean,
not.
he's so unpopular that the pedophiles didn't want to hang
That's right.
out with
They
him
didn't
on the
want him on the
pedophile
island.
island.
He's
Like,
like, please, please let
these
me
are
on
the
the
worst
island.
people in the world. And they were like, ooh, that
Yeah.
guy.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna take Bill Clinton. Sorry, you know,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna have Bill Clinton over. Who, you know, whatever. If you believe in whatever, but like,
I I
yeah,
believe it was
yeah,
probably
yeah,
there.
yeah. Or
At this point, it would be
Peter
hard for
Thiel.
a name to come
Yeah.
up that I would not
No, I
believe
know.
was
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
you
yeah. It's
know?
true. Yeah, yeah. Puff Daddy, all those. Well, that was the thing is that P Diddy said that he's like I wasn't on the files, and then somebody made a good observation. They said, yeah, because you were his competition. Like that was
Uh-huh. I was like, because you were doing it on the
you were
other's
also
post,
doing
you
it.
know?
Like, but but anyway, Elon Musk has those robots,
Yeah.
the Optimus or whatever the hell they're called, you know, and so uh again, don't like the guy, piece of shit. But I hope somebody steals that idea and
Well, the
starts
thing
making
is,
more of them.
this is the
Like,
thing you got to understand about Musk.
yeah,
Any
yeah.
idea that people attribute to him or are
I
talking
know
about
it's
of his,
somebody
someone
else.
else
Yeah,
is
yeah. I
doing
know it's
better.
somebody else.
So, like
Yeah,
Boston Dynamics and I think Hyundai have partnered. They are
yeah.
farther
They've been
advanced in
doing
the
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
robots, you
yeah.
know?
But I'm
Like, there's a
saying
lot.
like
I mean,
I'm saying
I'm
his bringing it
partially
out and doing
there,
the
but
thing.
I'm
You
also
know.
like I would have been there. So like in if you had talked to me 20 years ago, I would have been like, yes, I want a robot to do all these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And now if you told me, I'm like, probably not because it would spy on everything I
Oh
do. And
yeah,
I know you
everything you
don't
do.
care at all
No,
about
I don't give a
privacy.
shit. I don't care.
So
I
like
don't
it's
care.
like whatever, but
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
to me that's something where I'm like I
I
kind of
think
care and
not
kind
having
of don't.
privacy is convenient.
It is. It's
I think it's
a
like,
massive
yeah.
yeah,
I love
that's how they
opening
sell it.
Google and it's like you want to buy this today, and I'm like, how the fuck did you know that? Like that's so cool. Like, all right,
This is how Kana is too. This is how she
yeah,
is too. She
I
loves
love
that.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. You
Loves
know,
it. Yeah. And I
and
get it. I get it.
yeah,
It is convenient because there are times where I'll go and like I'll type something into Gemini and like I use Gemini sometimes and then it'll like be like, oh yeah, like you talked about these seven other times. And I'm like, that
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
helpful.
yeah, yeah.
And
It
I
is. Yeah,
also
yeah.
hate you and I want to turn off that setting, but also that really did just save me time.
It did. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I So imagine if you had a robot and it was like you had like you were thinking you like look over it like your trash it needs to be taken out and you just look over at it and the robot's like I will take the trash out and just goes and does it. It's like thank you, like you know what I mean, like it's like I don't want
It's like
privacy.
yeah,
I would love it to
yeah.
just go
I
do that.
get
Like
you.
who
I get you.
cares, you
Yeah,
know what
I
I mean?
mean, maybe it would be worth giving up all privacy for it.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
because
like
again,
whatever.
it is one of those things. I mean, this is another one of those same attitudes of like, ah, what are you gonna do when there are
That's
things you
right.
can do? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
again, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, they've already taken so much that like, what's the last
Yeah.
little bit, you
And what
know?
is and it's and I guess I mean, this is going to be this could delve into weird things, but what exactly is privacy? Like what is the point of privacy? Like that's the other thing.
Yeah.
What's the point of it? Like why? Like for what reason? Like I always
I
think
mean,
that.
I do think there's an element where like I think you have to have privacy because I think there needs to be a thing like you need to be able to just exist and you can't exist if you like it's not that you can't exist if you think someone else is watching or so on, but like there needs to be a space
Yeah.
where your actions are just for you. In the same way, the thing in itself, right? If something is always being perceived, same thing with aesthetics and not caring.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
what you're concerned about is how something else is going to be perceived, like what is the you there?
Yeah.
And so, like, what's the space that you have where you are you to yourself or you to you and your partner? You
But
know what I
then yeah,
mean?
but
Or
then
like that.
yeah. But then if you're being observed on a 24/7 basis, let's say, right? Then don't do you not have
Is
now
that just the new normal?
well no, and do you not have now two perspectives of like you have your own perspective of the experience, and now you have this perspective of whatever's like observing you.
Watching you. I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's
so
the
in a way,
supreme
it's
that's supreme
exteriorizing
empathy, right?
empathy.
Yes. You're offloading empathy to a robot.
Well, I did used to think about it a lot. That's something. Um, but I did used to think about this a lot with like, what if when you died, you got a full tally of everything that
Oh
ever
yeah, that's
happened,
the life
and you got the
review.
full,
Yeah,
you got the full card, and you're like, oh damn, I did that many times, huh?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh yeah, okay. And so like I get the appeal, but then I think part of me is just like, eh, it's just data. Like,
yeah.
like yeah, I don't know. Like I think of the have you read Jonathan Hickman's X-Men yet?
I'm in the process of reading Grant Morrison's to get to Jonathan Hickman's. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm
This
like
is so
I'm
you. This
yeah,
is
yeah,
so
yeah.
you. You
Well,
have to
you
go.
it's a pre like when I read when
You
I
kind of do need to have
you
read
need to have that
the
background before
Morrison to
you.
read the
Yeah, yeah,
Hickman. Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, then I don't want to ruin.
don't ruin anything. Just tell me I guess the philosophical
Well,
gist of it.
the philosophical gist is the idea of like if you think of data or like robotic intelligence as like more like I'm trying to think of this how not to ruin it, right? Okay, so like
It's okay if
think
you
of
do. I
this.
probably won't
It's
remember this, but
yeah, that's great. That's great. They'll fall into the hole.
yeah,
Well, okay.
privacy. No, no.
The idea is that like there's larger and larger minds. Like he introduced this idea where like a sentinel exists, right? And a sentinel's like somewhat all-knowing. Well, then there's something above a sentinel that is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all-knowing on this scale, and then there's something that's all-knowing on this
yeah,
scale,
yeah,
and so on and
yeah,
so forth. And so it's like, are you just this is the same thing with like the idea of a viewpoint that's outside of yourself, outside of
yeah.
art, right?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
we have this constant drive to like look at ourselves from the outside and be like, that's the objective view. That's
yeah,
what matters,
yeah,
right? But like if you follow that continually up, what do you get to? Like just a farther away viewpoint,
yeah. That's
which is
right.
like
Yeah,
more blurry to you,
yeah,
right? To your actual experience. And so for the Hickman thing, it's like, in this idea, transcending constantly means moving up into these greater layers. But like, is that even life anymore? Like, at what
no,
point is it not life? At what point is it
no.
just data? So, like, sure, you're given your life view and a scorecard at your end, but at the end of your life, say in my like fantasy of
Yes,
15
yeah,
or whatever. But
yeah,
like, yeah, you're just given data on your life. Is that your life? Like
yeah. Or is it
in
just
the
like
same
a
way,
tally of yeah,
exactly. In
yeah,
the same way, your brain in a computer, is that you or is that data simulating you? Is that, like
yeah?
I don't,
So then what?
yeah.
So then again, what's the point of being worried about a computer watching you at all times? Because it's essentially that's what it is, right? Is that it's a tally of who you are, but as a data thing. Because there's not obviously
Well, I
there's
think
not.
the
So
worry
when
is that it's used against you. I mean, I think the worry is that it's used by the most powerful corporations in the world to
well,
sell you shit,
so too is
control
your yeah.
you,
Well,
you know.
isn't your anonymity also used against you sometimes?
Say more.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like if you don't like
Uh-huh.
have if nobody has an idea of who you are, right? Can that
Yeah.
not also be used against you? You know?
I mean, it is, sure. It's like, yeah, but I mean, I guess it's anything can be used against you, but I think
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that in terms of privacy and in terms of like those elements, there should be a right to just not be part of this whole data conglomerate.
Yeah.
Because I think that's part of it is like we don't get the choice.
Yeah.
Like maybe we have the illusion of choice. You can uncheck the box that says
It's
like
bullshit. Yeah,
Gemini
yeah, yeah.
don't
It's
read all
bullshit.
my
It's bullshit.
emails.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
And I'm
bullshit.
like, I know
Yeah.
you're still probably
Yeah.
reading all my
It's
emails because
bullshit.
who can ever check?
No,
The
nobody can.
system is so
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
that and the skill set is so like
Yeah.
limited that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I couldn't know. Like it's
Yeah.
off.
It's all
It probably will
bullshit.
still reference like, oh yeah, that email you sent yesterday.
And you're like,
Or
what?
like,
What email?
yeah, it won't say it like that, but it'll
No,
do,
I know. Yeah, yeah,
it'll
yeah.
have some random reference. I'm like, oh, that does sound familiar.
That's interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I guess that kind of ties. beautifully back. We're going full circle, and I guess we might end the podcast
Yeah,
here.
this is
Yeah,
about good.
it's
I
probably
could use some food, you know?
yeah, me too. So even though I didn't eat for 9 hours last night or drink really, I literally
Oh
finished my
wow.
Diet Coke at like the 8 hour mark, and I was just
And then you just
sipping on an
passed
empty
out.
can. No, I was just like, like if you watch it, I'm gonna put it up. If you watch it, there's like I'm just sitting there
Oh,
doing this, and it's like there's nothing in it, and I was just trying to get it the last. I didn't
you're
even
like,
get
I
up
just
to get
need
a
a
new one.
little bit. I
Little bit
need...
more, like the 7 hour mark. I'm like, oh, I need more stuff. But no, the idea of absolute, like not knowing,
Yeah,
right? So like when it comes to a computer or a data center, not knowing your full, like who you
life.
are, just
Yeah.
basically what you put out on the internet or what you say on the internet or what I mean, that's not you. That's just information,
It's a copy of you. Yeah.
a copy of a
Copy of you.
copy
I
of
mean,
a
in
copy.
some way, yeah, copy of a copy in your own version. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and in some way, in part of what I'm saying is like that there's violence in the not being complete,
Mhm.
and there's violence in the you didn't get a choice in it existing in the first place. And
Mhm.
like there's just so many layers to those things. Because again, I don't want it necessarily to be complete either.
Yeah.
Like because that's the whole privacy aspect.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think part of the issue is that people see it as more objective than the you,
Yeah.
you know?
You are subjective. The digital you is objective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just don't think that's correct, especially if you've used AI, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. True story.
so
True story.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Nice. And that's a good way to
Yeah.
end it. I don't know. So
I don't
none of
know.
us know. All right. Well,
We don't know.
thank you, Matt, for being on
Yeah.
my funny podcast. And you'll be back, I'm
Always a
sure,
pleasure.
if this keeps
Always.
going.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. This is episode 13 of possibly 5,000 or more.
Let's hope.
Yeah, after the 9 hour one, people might just be like, "I'm tuning out. I'm done with this." But anyway, yeah. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Be
Sounds good.
be good. Eat
You
a
too,
lot.
as
All
always.
right. See you later.
Bye, Robert.